Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the Anvil Hawk. Let's go ahead and take a look. Welcome back to another review. Today, the Anvil Hawk, a light fighter. We're going to go ahead and take a look at all the stats and, quick battle, and then I'll give you my final score on this ship. Before I do so, I will say there are only a few days left in the giveaway going on for the Super Hornet right now, Mark II with the Heartseeker kit. Make sure you go to that video on the channel and enter if you want your chance to win. Now, otherwise, this ship here is the Anvil Hawk. It is a light fighter, and it's such a cool-looking ship. I think it's probably one of the better-looking light fighters out there. But, of course, the design comes with its flaws, right? So, taking a look, this ship is $100 if you were to buy it on the Pledge Store, or if you buy it in-game, it is $2,646,000 aUEC. It's an all-right price point for what it can do, but it definitely does have some drawbacks, and we'll take a look at that here in just a second. This ship does have a claim time of 6 minutes and 48 seconds. If you were to expedite it, it is 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Definitely not a bad, waiting. If you need to wait after getting destroyed a few times, I don't think you'll run out of patience too much with that claim time, which is nice. Now, you do, as the pilot, have up to 778 damage per second with that stock loadout due to the 2 size 1 Sucker Punch distortion cannons, as well as the 4 size 2 CF227 Panthers right there all on the front. Now, I'll say, this ship has no missile payload. There are no missiles for the ship, and truly, every time I've gotten into a fight with a player, it is sorely missed because a lot of the times players tend to engage first with missiles and then you go in for your attack. So not having that first barrage, it really is a big bummer, and it kind of feels really like it's missing if you're to compare this to something like an Arrow, a Gladius, or any other light fire, even a Talon. I mean, this ship, it feels like it needs at least 4 missiles for it to help out just a little bit. Now, you do have an EMP generator. It's a size 2 EMP generator, and it outputs 2,475 damage with a max of a 750 meter radius. But I'm going to tell you right now, every time I've engaged that EMP generator, it really didn't do much for me. It didn't take down anybody's shields. It barely looked like it did any damage to them, and I was probably within 400 to 600 meters, and that's just really too bad. I'm sure the further away they are, the more there's a drop off on that damage, but it feels like the EMP in its current state is more of a gimmick than it is a actual necessity or something that can be used. Just like distortion weapons, they don't have their place right now. So there is quite a bit of a different loadout I would suggest with this ship. Don't even bother using the EMP generator unless you found a way to perfect it that I just am not sure how. It just doesn't seem to be worth trying to figure out. But I will let you know right now, to operate that EMP generator, if you see on screen in the cockpit here, you would need to go to your MFD and go ahead and give it power through your power management system, which I'll say, with this ship, power management, not so good. You actually have to steal power from like your couple of your other systems, like your cooling, to have full shields and full weapons, which is really too bad. But with that, you also have to steal a little bit just to power that EMP generator. And then at that point, you can scroll through your list of weapon options, or if you have your hotkey set up, and activate that EMP so it charges up to 100 and fires off. Now, like I said, I feel like it was a waste of time every time I tried to do that. It was really distracting, and it honestly didn't help in the end of things. But the overall damage per second with the rest of the ship isn't terrible. If you were honestly asking me, putting some NBDs or maybe even attritions on this thing would double or triple the damage, which would be fantastic and make this quite the formidable light fighter. Now, you do have two size 1 shield generators outputting 3,460 bubble shield, and then you also have a total of 11,200 ship HP. Now, if we're taking a look at way back then, probably about 3.22, 3.23 area, this ship had about 3,000 shield, so it has a little bit more now, and then it had 12,200 health, which has a little bit less now. So it was hit a little bit there, not something too terrible. And its damage per second also went down just a little bit because they changed the stock weapons, because now it's operating at 778 damage instead of 944, which is kind of too bad, but things change, and they will always change with these ships until we're in the final state of the game. Now, this ship does have a top speed of 222 SCM with a 490 forward boost and a 250 backwards boost with a top NAV speed of 1,175. You also have a pitch yaw roll of 65, 48, 178, and a boosted 78, 58, 214, which I'll tell you, that does compete with like medium fighters and some of the light fighters. But if you're going against an Arrow, you're probably still going to be outmaneuvered just enough for that pilot to get the edge on you. So be very careful with what ships you decide to attack. This ship feels kind of fragile too, because that health pool, even though it has 11,200 health pool, a lot of that is in the wings, just like a lot of these winged ships are, and that makes it kind of tragic because the second you lose one of the bigger wings, it turns into a nightmare for you as the pilot. I ended up in a death spin at one of the times that happened. It's not a fun experience. Now, you do have 10.5 SCU of hydrogen fuel with a total of 1.1 SCU of quantum fuel. Now, I'm going to tell you, this ship does have a bounty hunting transport pod on the back, which used to be a bed that you can lay in. Now, not so much. There is a button on the side of the pod that you can open it, or, you can use the interior of your ship to open it. And then, this device, as you can see on screen, comes out, and it allows you to attach a bounty pod that would have someone in it, and then it goes back into that pod area. So that's pretty cool. This is technically a bounty hunting ship, or maybe even like a very quick, nimble, somewhat of a fighter bounty transport. So that's pretty interesting. I do like that. Hopefully that's not just a gimmick to sell the ship, and they actually come up with a way to use that function and feature. I don't know if that'll be something you can ever really do with a player character, but I'm sure they'll probably have some AI bounties where you can transport AI bounties through that method, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and take a look at a quick battle, and I'll show you the cockpit of this ship too. Now, as you can see, this ship is pretty cool looking, and it can do some pretty decent damage. I'll say any of these light fighters or fighters that have only size 2 for weapons kind of puts it at a disadvantage, since pretty much everything else you'll be facing has size 3 or up. And that is a really big bummer, because the damage output that you have compared to the other ships is a bit less, and you're not able to, do as much alpha damage right off the bat when you're hitting your target. So you got to be a lot more consistent with your shots, and that could spell disaster depending on who you're facing. So that is always something to consider. Now, honestly, my score is going to reflect a few things here. You got no missiles. You got no gold or components pass. So this ship is lacking, you know, any sort of components, no gold standard, nothing like that. And then also the power management on this ship stock is, as you know, rather terrible. While you do get a good capacitor for your weapons, the power management system means you have to strip power from so many different systems just to get your shields and guns fully operational, which I don't know, if you ask me, that doesn't sound good. Now, so with that, my score is a 7 out of 10. It got hit with a couple points, like I said, but overall, it is a pretty fun ship to fly. And if you're going after other light or medium fighters, you can have a great time. Even some bigger ships, like taking down an Ares. Well, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you to the channel members. You guys are all amazing. And everybody else, you guys are just fantastic. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.